Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Any percussion instrument you'd like?
Just kartals, just kartal. Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Shri Guru Charana Padama Kevala Bhakati Sadama. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadama. Mandamui Sagadhana Mate Mandamui Sagadhana Mate Yara Prasade Maya Bhagatoriya Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Prapti Hoya Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitade Koriya Ikya Adana Koriya Mane Asha Guru Charane Rati Aise Samadhati Sade Pure Sarva Asha Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Sakshudan Diloye Janme Janme Prabhu Se Sakshudan Diloye Janme जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान दिव्य प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान दिव्य प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्तिया होइते अविद्या विनाशाय अविद्या विनाशाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पश्चात्याग सचारिणे Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Astatarasati Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Sanstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Astatarasati Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Vrajbhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Oh glories to the Sambhu devotees. Oh glories to the Sambhu devotees. Oh glories to the Sambhu devotees. Oh glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki.
आईपैड कनेक्ट करना है महाराज, आईपैड कनेक्ट करना है। सोचिए
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Real honor to be here. Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Nitai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Along the 101 freeway, there's a sign that says, your tax dollars at work, because they're doing construction pretty much constantly. And here we can have a sign that says, your Sri Guru Parampara at work. Because His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj is a disciple of His Holiness Kadambakananda Maharaj, who is a disciple of His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami, who's a disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. To me, the name is befitting Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj. As a brand, it has a punch. It wakes you up and says, wow. And that's Maharaj. Maharaj brings freshness to the Sri Guru Parampara, that the current is coming through the various generations so powerfully, and also proof that the straightforward but very strict following of the simple principles that have been given to us by Srila Prabhupada, respectfully worshipping the Lord, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, distributing books, and so forth, brings one to a stage where one can be a self-illuminated representative of the Sri Guru Parampara. Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj is such a representative. Maharaj, we're so deeply grateful that you've come here to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. And I request all the devotees here and online to give a warm ISKCON of Silicon Valley welcome to Maharaj.
you so much. There's two places in the world which give the longest claps and haribols when you arrive, and the jury's still out as to which one wins. It's definitely Chowpatty or ISV, one of them. Thank you so much. It's so humbling. It's so humbling and simultaneously inspiring to be with all of you. In the material world, they say every generation stands on the shoulders of giants. In our tradition, we take the dust from the lotus feet of the giants. We don't stand on their shoulders. But proverbially, we do stand on the shoulders of giants because all these incredible Vaishnavas, of course, Srila Prabhupada, and then all his illustrious followers have done superhuman things, empowered by their selflessness, empowered by their incredible dedication and willingness to make sacrifice. And therefore, whatever we're able to do, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. My deep, deep gratitude to His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, Her Grace Mother Nirakula, His Grace Bhagavata Prabhu, Her Grace Mother Sarvamangala, His Grace Vijay Prabhu. These are all, in my eyes, giants. I may be 6'5", but they are giants, and it's amazing to be in their presence, not just because it makes you realize how much can be and should be done for Srila Prabhupada, but in their presence one also feels empowered that I can also make a contribution. There were two prime ministers actually. One was, if I remember correctly, Churchill and Disraeli. And one person commented that when you went in the room and came out of the room after meeting Churchill, you thought, wow, a great person. And he said, when you went in the room and met Disraeli and you came out, you thought, wow, great person, and I could also be great. And they said that's the difference between a good leader and a great leader. A good leader is great, but a great leader has the power to inspire and unleash and awaken the potential within others. And with these Vaishnavas here following very much in the spirit of Srila Prabhupada, we feel that empowerment, that kindness, that encouragement, and that takes us wherever we're able to go. So yes, my name is, the name I was given was Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Swami. It's kind of difficult sometimes going around the world with a name like that, you know. You know, like sometimes I just have to shorten it to SB because like for some people it's like Swayam Bhagavan? Who does this guy think he is? And then I have to clarify to them. My spiritual master gave me this name and he told me you should travel the world and you should establish Krishna as the Svayam Bhagavan. So that usually pacifies them. But so today we're speaking about Queen Kunti. Such an incredible personality, and here I've written the embodiment of motherly love. So I'll try to share some ideas with you. Srila Prabhupada said, of all types of love in the world, the love of a mother for the child is unparalleled. Very, very special. And of that motherly love, perhaps Queen Kunti is the embodiment of that motherly love. So we can understand there's so much to learn here. There's so much to absorb. Today what I'm going to try to share with you is a unique aspect of Queen Kunti's motherly love. A unique aspect that this mother embodied, which perhaps could change the way we practice spiritual life. And so I'm going to try and share that with you. And today we're just going to remember how much of an incredible personality she was. Yes, let us see how far we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. His Grace Brahmananda Prabhu, who spent much time with Srila Prabhupada, he actually revealed to us Srila Prabhupada's intimate relationship with the prayers of Queen Kunti. He explained that in the winter of 1965 and 66, when Prabhupada was in New York, all alone in that very incredibly difficult situation, one of the coldest recorded winters in New York history, Srila Prabhupada was living in West 72nd Avenue. That apartment was not very grand. It didn't even have a bathroom or a kitchen. And so what Srila Prabhupada would do is he would walk from that apartment, and through the cold New York streets, Prabhupada would walk to Dr. Mishra's apartment, where he would bathe and where he would cook. There all alone, Prabhupada was staying. And it's explained that when Prabhupada was staying in that winter in New York, then he sacrificed 1 month's rent to buy a dictaphone, a taping machine. And Brahmananda Prabhu reveals to us that the first and only prayers that Srila Prabhupada ever recorded on a dictaphone were the prayers of Queen Kunti. And so Prabhupada, accompanied by, if I remember, Kartals, he actually sung these verses, these prayers of Queen Kunti. And Brahmananda Prabhu tells us that these were very dear prayers to Srila Prabhupada. He explains in 1967, Srila Prabhupada, on Memorial Day, he had a stroke. And in that very difficult condition, Brahmananda Prabhu, the young devotees, they didn't know what to do. He said, Prabhupada told us, just massage my heart. And they were trying to nurse Srila Prabhupada back to good health. And then Srila Prabhupada in 1967 told Brahmananda Prabhu, I need 3 things. I want you, number 1, to bring the picture of Nrsingadev so I can worship Nrsingadev for his protection. Number 2, I want all of you to sing Hare Krishna and do kirtan in order to plead Krishna for my improvement of health. And in 1967, in that difficult situation, Prabhupada said, number 3, bring the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, and Brahmananda Prabhu, I want you to sit down and read those prayers to me. So he explained that Prabhupada wanted to specifically hear these prayers of Queen Kunti. He explains again in 1974 when Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, he was there to open the Krishna Balaram temple, and there again Srila Prabhupada became very, very sick. And again Srila Prabhupada called Brahmananda Prabhu and said, read from the prayers of Queen Kunti. So we can see a pattern emerging here of how Srila Prabhupada had such a connection with the prayers of Queen Kunti. And later on, Brahmananda Prabhu explains in 1973, Srila Prabhupada was in New York. And at that time, nothing had been video recorded of Srila Prabhupada. So His Grace Pancharatna Prabhu, who is in New York now, he had the idea of videoing Srila Prabhupada. And so he brought this huge machine, and Brahmananda Prabhu was thinking, this is like, why are you doing this? Prabhupada doesn't even like to be photographed. You're going to bring this whole machine in? And he was thinking, what's the point of this? No one will even be able to watch this. But Pancharatna Prabhu had that presence of mind. And so he began video recording Srila Prabhupada in New York in 1973. And in those lectures for 7 days, Srila Prabhupada was speaking from the teachings of Queen Kunti. And so you can see those black and white videos of Srila Prabhupada, some of the very rare videos of Srila Prabhupada giving a lecture, and he's lecturing from the teachings of Queen Kunti. And then it's explained that Prabhupada left New York, he went to LA, and in LA Srila Prabhupada continued to speak from the teachings of Queen Kunti. And after he finished those lectures in LA, then Srila Prabhupada actually told the BBT that you should now make a book and call it The Teachings of Queen Kunti. So it's very, very beautiful. Srila Prabhupada had such a deep connection with this great personality, and her prayers from the Bhagavatam are definitely among the most illustrious and the most prominent. We hear a sloka from the Niti Shastra. Prahata dyuti prasangena madhyama stri prasangata ratra chori prasangena kalo gacchati dhimahi. Kalo gacchati dhimahi. How does an intelligent person spend their time? Prahata dyuti prasangena. In the first part of the day, the morning, they speak about gambling. Madhyama stri prasangata, and in the middle of the day they speak about women. Ratra chori prasangena, and in the evening they speak about stealing. Kalo gacchati dhimahi. This is how an intelligent person passes their time. Don't worry, there's a purport. In the morning, they're discussing gambling because what are they reading? The Mahabharata, isn't it? The gambling match, that kind of moment in the narrative is where everything changed. And therefore, they're reading that and remembering Krishna, who came to save Draupadi. And they're remembering all these characters in the Mahabharata who had such devotion for Krishna. Madhyama stri prasangata. In the middle of the day, they're talking about women. Because which book are they reading? The Ramayana. The Ramayana is full of illustrious ladies who change the plot and create the twists and turns. There's the three wives, Kaikeyi, Sumitra, and Kaushalya. Then there is Manthara, then there is Sita, then there is Mandodari, then there is Surpanaka. All these ladies in the Ramayana which create the twists and turns, which ultimately reveal the character of an ideal person and the beautiful relationships that can be had amongst each other. And Ratra Chauri Prasangena, in the evening they're speaking about stealing. because they're remembering the Bhagavatam where Krishna is stealing the butter, stealing the clothes of the gopis, and stealing the minds and hearts of all the Brajabasis. And in this way, Kalo Gachati Dhimahi, an intelligent person spends their time absorbing their consciousness in all of these different activities. But this is very interesting, Madhyama Stri Prasangata. In the tradition of the Vedas, there are many, many illustrious ladies who are glorified. In another Vedic verse it's mentioned, Ahalya Draupadi Kunti Tara Mandodari Tatha Panchakanyam forgot the verse. Smriti, Nityam Smriti, forgot it. No problem. 5 very, very illustrious ladies, the Panchakanyam, the 5 chaste ladies from whom we learn so much. Ahalya, the wife of Gautama. Draupadi, the wife of the Pandavas. Kunti, the wife of Pandu. Tara, the wife of Vali. And Mandodari, the wife of Ravan. These 5 ladies are glorified for their chastity, for their purity, for their incredible character. And so today we are remembering Kunti, and specifically her motherly love. Motherly love is very, very special. It's interesting that every single scripture in this world is said to have very, very important verses. And the acharyas, sometimes what they do is they identify what we call a paribhasa sutra. And this is considered the emperor verse, the verse from which all other verses in that scripture should be understood. The verse which all other verses in that scripture are in pursuance of. And therefore it said, for example, the Paribhasa Sutra of the Bhagavad Gita, different people say different things, but most often it's said, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, that Krishna says, engage your mind in always thinking of me. The Paribhasa Sutra of the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha, that Krishna is the supreme person, a form of eternity, bliss and knowledge, who's the cause of all causes. Paribhasa Sutra of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, one commentator says, Anarpita Chiram Chirat Karunaya Vatirna Kalo, that install this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within the innermost chambers of your heart. He has come to give something to this world which was not given before. Srimad Bhagavatam, Paribhasa Sutra, Ete Chamsha Kala Pumsha Krishnas Tu Bhagavan Svayam. Remember that one. Yes, that Krishna, all the different incarnations are simply emanating from Krishna. Krishna is the Bhagavan Svayam. He's the source of all incarnations. But did you know that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says that the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam has its own Paribhasa Sutra? There's a Paribhasa Sutra of the Bhagavatam, but there's also a Paribhasa Sutra of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, which is the smiling face of Krishna. Anyone know what that verse is? Yes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually reveals this in his commentary. And when this verse is quoted, it's very, very special. When Srila Prabhupada took the devotees to Vrindavan, then one day Srila Prabhupada decided to take the devotees to the Yamuna, and he took them all to a very, very special place where Krishna had opened his mouth one day because his friends had accused him of eating dirt. And when he opened it and his mother looked into Krishna's mouth and she saw all the universes. So you can go to this place today. That place is known as Brahmanda Ghat. And there, when Krishna opened his mouth and Mother Yashoda saw all the universes within Krishna's mouth, Mother Yashoda became overcome. You know, like, my God, like all these universes, all of this, this is my Krishna, but he's like something more than what I thought. But then it's explained that at the very next moment, Mother Yashoda just forgot all of that. She forgot all of that and she just saw Krishna again as her smiling, young, charming son. And in that passage, this verse is cited, and it's very interesting that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this verse is actually the Paribhasa Sutra of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can repeat after me. Traya Chopanisadbhischa Sankhya Yogeshcha Satvate Upagiyamana Mahatmyam Harim Samanyatatmajam. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of the Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnav literature. Yet Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. It's very, very beautiful. It's interesting that out of all of the verses that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur could have identified as the emperor verse of Krishna's pastimes, he chooses this verse. The way in which Mother Yashoda just overlooks everything, all of Krishna's glories, all of Krishna's opulence, all of Krishna's unlimited mystic potency and glory, and she just overlooks all of that and just sees Krishna as an ordinary child. This, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur tells us, is the Paribhasa Sutra. I was thinking about this actually, and I think maybe many of us also have this experience. I was thinking once that in my life, every single relationship changed. With my brother, it changed. With my father, it changed. Even with my spiritual master, it changed. But there's only one relationship to this day that has never changed. And I'm pretty sure that relationship will never change. And you know what relationship that is, right? The relationship with your mom. Because it doesn't matter if you're a Swami, when you come in front of your mom, you're just a kid. It makes no difference at all. And it's so interesting that it's very, very special, motherly love, because it kind of looks beyond all of that. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur could have identified another verse, perhaps a verse where Krishna is interacting with the gopis, because that is said to be the epitome. But he chose this one, because perhaps the most relatable kind of experience that we can have, where someone just looks beyond everything and just sees you for the essence of who you are. The most relatable experience sometimes we have is with our own mother. And so motherly love is very, very special, very, very powerful. And of all the mothers in Vedic literature, perhaps Queen Kunti stands out to a superlative degree. In her life, she went through so many struggles, so many sufferings. In the beginning, she had her son Karna. Because of the social unease of that whole situation, she had to let her son go. Later on, she was married, but she lost her husband very, very early, and she had to bring up her children all alone. Later on, she had to watch her children being almost attacked and attempts at their own assassination. She had to witness all of these things. Later on, that same Kunti had to see her children, her family lose everything in that gambling match. Later on in that gambling match, her own children were exiled to the forest, and then she had to watch them go, and she couldn't go with them. She had to just stay back and wait patiently for those 13 years till they came back. And after they came back, she had to witness the whole of the Kurukshetra war, in which so many of her grandchildren and dear relatives were killed. So perhaps if we look in the Vedic literature, there's perhaps nobody who went through as much suffering, as much of a roller coaster journey, as much of incredibly difficult obstacles in her life as Queen Kunti did. And the amazing thing is, at the end of her life, in this chapter of the Bhagavatam, she's remembering all of those calamities. She's presenting it before Krishna. And she's saying, thank you. Can you give me more? To go through it is one thing. To maintain your faith through it is another thing. To be grateful for it is another thing. And then to ask for more is completely unheard of. Who would do that? That is the depth. This is love. It's explained, how do you understand who has love? They can be different. If you look through Shastra, there are different definitions of prema. Because at the end of the day, we look in our hearts and we think, how much love do I have? How do I even measure that love for Krishna? Therefore, the Shastra gives us different ways to measure love. And one beautiful way to measure love is this. Sarvata dvamsarahitam satyadham sakarane yad bhava bandhayo yuno sa prema parikirtita. This verse, quoted by Srila Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, explains how do you know that there is a relationship of love between two people? How do you know? How do you measure the depth of that love? And this verse tells us, when there are so many obstacles, when there are so many opportunities for that relationship to break, but in the midst of all of those obstacles and opportunities for that relationship to break, it still does not break, but on the other hand, it becomes more intensified. One must understand that that is a real relationship of love. And therefore, Queen Kunti comes out in flying colors on this measure of love. And so here we're remembering Queen Kunti and everything she went through. But today I want to focus on something beautiful that when I read Queen Kunti's prayers really kind of jumped out at me. You've all, I think, been memorizing Queen Kunti's prayers, and if we remember some of her prayers, they're incredible. If we recite some of them, as we recite these, I just want you to think about what is the theme which runs through each one of these prayers. Queen Kunti will say, Janmeshwarya Shruta Shribhir Edaman Amadapuman Nirvarhatya Vidatum Ve Tvamakinchan Gocharam. She's saying, Krishna, only when we're completely exhausted with attempts for higher birth, for more wealth, for greater beauty, for learning, only when we're exhausted and we don't want any of this anymore, it's just become so insignificant to us, only then can we approach you with sincere feeling. Queen Kunti will pray, Atha Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamurte Swakeshu Me Sneha Pashamimam Chindi Dridam Pandushu Vrishnishu. She will say, Krishna, please sever the tie of my affection for the Vrishnis. Cut it. sneha pasham imam chindi. Queen Kunti will pray, Tvai me nanya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit ratim udvahatad adha gangevo gumadanvati. She will say, Krishna, let my attraction flow to you without any hindrance, just as the Ganga flows towards the ocean, not being impeded by anything. And then she will famously pray, Vipada shantu taha shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yachyat apunar bhavadarshanam. Krishna, send more and more calamities. Send me more and more problems. Because when I see these problems, when I experience this, then we see you. We have no more desire to remain connected to this material existence. Do you see a theme in all of those prayers? If you were to sum it up in one word, what would you say that word is which sums up these prayers? Anyone want to say? Faith. Okay. Surrender. Pardon me? Acceptance.
Love for Krishna.
Love. Attachment to Krishna. Gratitude. Whatever pleases you, Krishna. Focus. Determination. I thought you were going to say what I wanted someone to say. Detachment. This was the one I was thinking of. Detachment. To become materially exhausted. Detachment. To say, Krishna, I don't want him now be diverted by anything of this world. I want my attraction to flow to you. Detachment. I want you to cut the tie of affection for my family members. Detachment. Krishna, I want you to send me more and more calamities so that I can detach myself from this world. If you see, there's very much a theme of detachment in Kunti Maharani's prayers. And detachment is something very, very interesting, because in our scriptures, different things are said about detachment. And so what I thought we could do today is just think a little bit about this deep detachment, clearly, that Kunti Maharani has within her heart. And what can that teach us about how we practice Krishna consciousness and how we practice our spiritual journey. Before we do that, I just want to take you through a comparison of the Gita and the Bhagavatam and show you how in Shastra sometimes a very, very similar strategy is used in order to reveal the absolute truth to the world. And when you look at the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, then what you will see is there actually is a striking resemblance in how the absolute truth is revealed through these scriptures. Both of these books have an outer narrative. The outer narrative of the Bhagavad Gita is the battlefield. How does it begin? Dhritarashtra is asking, what happened on the battlefield? And the end of the conversation, what is being said? Wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Arjuna, there will be victory. So the outer narrative of the Bhagavad Gita is the events of the battle. The outer narrative of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the situation of Parikshit. We begin by hearing how Parikshit is born, and then how he's cursed. And the end of the Bhagavatam in the 12th canto, we begin hearing about how Parikshit dies. And so they have an outer narrative. But both of these books also have an inner narrative. What's the inner narrative of the Bhagavad Gita? The conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And what is the inner narrative of the Srimad Bhagavatam? The conversation, we can say, between Sukadeva and Parikshit. Similar. Now, both of these books have a preface. The preface of the Bhagavad Gita is chapter 1. Because chapter 1 is simply observing the armies. In one sense, there's no real philosophical exchange there. All we're hearing about is the scene on which the conversation is about to take place. In the same way, the Srimad Bhagavatam also has a preface that's Canto 1. Because actually the conversation between Sukadeva and Parikshit doesn't begin until Canto 2. And so the Canto 1 is really just talking about the events which lead up to Parikshit being cursed and Parikshit then going to the bank of the Ganga to hear Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. Similar. Both of these conversations are triggered by a question. In the Bhagavad Gita, the question is asked by Arjuna. What is my duty? Dharma shumuda chetaha yatreyashan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyaste ham sadhimam tvam prapannam. The question is, what is my duty? I'm confused. And in the Bhagavatam, the whole conversation is triggered by a question. What is that question? What is the duty of someone about to die? And what is the duty of all people in all situations? So again, a question, a similar question, which triggers the whole conversation. In both literatures, there's a summary. In the Bhagavad Gita, the summary is chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, the summary of the whole Bhagavatam is in 2, 1 to 3, the first 3 chapters of the second canto. Sridhar Swami in Bhavarta Dipika, he explains that when Parikshit asked Sukadeva the question, what is the duty of somebody about to die? Sukadeva Goswami was so enthusiastic to speak that he forgot to recite a Mangalacharan. Sometimes speakers also do that. They get on the Vyasasana, they get so excited, they start speaking and they're like, I haven't offered prayers. So actually he says the Mangalacharan then occurs in chapter number 4. He says, but these first 3 chapters, remember, they begin by talking about Brahman, Paramatma, and then Bhagavan, the change in heart, pure devotional service, the 3rd chapter. And it's said that actually Bhagavatam is complete. By the 3rd chapter of the 2nd canto, Bhagavatam is complete, it's finished. Sukadeva has said everything he needs to say. But Parikshit is like, I've got some time here to spend. He says, quick, ask him a question. So then Parikshit starts asking questions and then the conversation ensues. But actually the whole summary is given in those first 3 chapters of the 2nd canto. The essence of the Bhagavad Gita is where? In the middle 6 chapters, isn't it? Because the essence is always in the middle. And then of those middle 6 chapters, number 9, the most confidential knowledge. And actually, if you look at the 700 verses of the Gita, then you can also say the essence of the essence is in the 350th and 351st verse. Anyone know what because that's right in the middle. Anyone know what the 350th verse of the Bhagavad Gita is? Yes, Vijay Prabhu got it. Amazing. Mahatmanas tumam partha devim prakritim ashrita. That one should take shelter of the divine energy. And the very next verse tells us, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dhrida vrita namashantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upashate. That always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, the great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. One commentator says that if the Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's words, then these 2 are Krishna's heart. 350th and 351st. Therefore, when Krishna came in the next yuga, he came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what did he do? Devim Prakritim Ashrita. He took shelter of the internal energy. Why? Because he took the Radha Bhav. And what did he do? Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. He came and he just chanted Krishna's names. So Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita and then he gave the essence. And then what he did in the next incarnation is he actually lived it out. He lived out that essence. So the essence of the Bhagavad Gita is right in the middle. And where's the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam? What is the essence of the Bhagavatam? Where is it? The smiling face of Krishna, the 10th canto. But someone might say, hang on, that's not in the middle. So why are you saying it's the same? Actually, it is in the middle. Because the Bhagavatam has about 335 chapters, if I'm not mistaken. 331? 331? 335. Okay, I was right. And if you look at the 10, 11, and 12 cantos, the 10th canto, as we know, has 90 chapters. And if you add it all up in terms of verses, then actually it looks like the 10th canto, the beginning, is right in the middle. And therefore, most likely 3.5 days into the conversation, that's when the 10th canto began. And so actually, the essence of the Bhagavatam is actually right in the middle, just like the Gita. And the final wisdom that Krishna leaves Arjuna with in the Bhagavad Gita is contained in the final 6 chapters, which are known as Jnana Yoga, or the chapters in which Krishna gives wisdom, which engenders a detachment, and then finally the Gita ends, the perfection of renunciation. So we can say the final knowledge that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita is knowledge of detachment. And if you look at the Bhagavatam, then what happens? In the 11th and 12th cantos, actually, it's all Jnana Yoga. Not all Jnana Yoga, but there's a lot of wisdom there. The majority of the 11th canto is Krishna speaking to Uddhav, and Krishna is preparing Uddhav to take sannyas. And therefore, he's giving all this knowledge in Uddhav Gita, which is helping him to become detached. And then the 12th canto is all about the annihilation of the universe, Markandeya Rishi, and ultimately the annihilation of Parikshit's own body. So it's all actually about detachment. So why am I sharing all of this with you? That it's very interesting that the final wisdom of the Bhagavatam and the Gita is meant to engender a sense of detachment within us. Why do you think these scriptures end with detachment? Why don't they end with the most beautiful thing? They already talked about Krishna. They already talked about bhakti. They already talked about, the ultimate goal of life, which is to attain this love and attraction for Krishna. Why now end it with detachment? Why would you do that? What's the strategy behind that? Any ideas? Yes. Because without detachment, you can't attain that love. Yes, thank you. Anyone else?
To help us at the time of death so that we can leave this world and be attached to Krishna instead of being attached to everything here.
Yes, so at the time of death, so that we're not holding on, so that we're not still investing our hopes, our dreams, our desires in things of this world. Yes, very good, yes. Question? Can we do questions later? Is that okay? Just looking for just an understanding. Why do these scriptures end with detachment? Yeah. Yeah, at the back, Shastra.
Use a mic,
such detachment was attained. It was the byproduct of doing bhakti, in the sense that it wasn't done for the purpose of wanting liberation or some other gain. It was a natural byproduct of doing bhakti. So
detachment is a natural byproduct of bhakti, therefore detachment comes at the end, because Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, like that? That's your...
in the sense that these scriptures talk about attaining detachment, but such detachment has come just as a natural byproduct of bhakti. So the priority was only bhakti fully.
Okay, but the final thing you say is almost like the most important. Like if I were to give a lecture here, then the last 5 minutes of what I say, generally what you try to do is say something really important, because that's generally what people remember. Isn't it? So why? Why end with is detachment the goal? Yeah.
To meet us where we are.
To meet us where we are.
We can
okay, so you're saying that the middle of the Shastra has given us the goal of where we are, or where we want to go. And what happens is this part teaches us where we are and how to navigate all the obstacles on the way to get there. So your point is that it's a natural methodology that when we want to go to a place, first you establish what is the goal, and then once you know what is the goal, you come back and you look at all the things in between which are stopping you, and then you start navigating through those things. Okay, good.
So also likely Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradhari. In the sense also you can see, once the Jnana and Vairagya combine, A plus B equals to C, the Bhakti starts. That's the devotion sprouts. So once the seed is planted with detachment, then the Bhakti starts.
So you're saying that Krishna has spoken about Bhakti Yoga, and then when we Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga, when we imbue that Bhakti with detachment, and with knowledge, then it becomes powerful, Tivra Bhakti. Okay? Yes?
Kind of finally reminding nothing else, only Krishna.
Okay, it's reminding you, don't invest any of your attention into anything of this world, it's only Krishna. So it's helping us to remove all of those other. Okay? Yeah, ladies side maybe.
To be able to fully surrender?
To be able to fully surrender. And how does detachment help you to do that?
Because you don't have anything, then you just want to surrender completely.
Okay. So to let go of things, yes?
So I was thinking about Ishopanishad, where it said that you have to study science and nations together. So, I mean, in the middle part, we learned about what to do, and then at the end, what not to do actually. Yeah. So the detachment is about what we should not do.
Okay, so what we should not do, yes. Very good. Okay, maybe one more.
One of the aspects is to hide the essence in the middle, just like the jewel within a box.
Okay, so it's just there as a cover. Okay, sure. Okay, yes.
I think it's just to understand that everything here is temporary and everything is fleeing, but just enjoy and appreciate the moment and know that we cannot hold on to it, but appreciate it and let it be.
Okay.
To welcome the next moment as well.
Thank you so much. Okay, last one at the back.
Hare Krishna. It also references back to the question, what is the duty of someone who is dying? And at the very end, it's talking about all of the forms of death, how grand it really is, how impossible it is to overcome it.
Okay. This is a very beautiful point, actually, that these scriptures are actually preparing us for death. And as Krishna says, Antakale chamameva, whatever you remember at that point. And at death, everything is taken away. Time I am, Rityu sarva haraschaham. And therefore, to prepare one for death means one must have an element of detachment within their heart. Otherwise, they're still holding on to those things. So now, I'm going to ask you, because we hear different things about detachment. And I'm going to ask you, which one of these do you believe to be true? Detachment is the result of bhakti. Agree? Detachment is supportive to bhakti. Detachment is dangerous to bhakti. I think now you're thinking, maybe I should be detached from detachment. I can't figure this out. Very interesting. In Shastra, you'll find all three of these things said. And all three of these things are true. But they seem to be contradictory. No. On a higher level, they can be reconciled. But these three perspectives are incredibly important for us to understand, to nurture our devotion in the right way. On one hand, detachment is not an anga of bhakti. It's not. On the other hand, Krishna says, Bhogeshvarya prashaktanam taya parat chaitasham vyavasayatmika buddhi samadov no vidiyate. If you're attached, you can't practice bhakti with force, with focus. So how do we engender a detachment that nurtures our bhakti in the right way? This is very, very important. So, the Bhagavatam will tell us that detachment is a result of bhakti. All of you know this verse. By rendering devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So many of us have that experience, that the devotees, they told you, don't worry, you don't have to give up anything. Yeah, right. And then, as you began practicing, actually many things they didn't even have to tell you to give up. It just came. Just let it go. Like, why would I even do that anymore? Gambling. It's like, why? So many things, detachment is just something that we don't, in one sense, have to try extraneously for. It just comes. It comes when one has a higher taste. Raso varajam, rasopyasya, param drishtva. Nivartate, that when one gives up something, having experienced something better, then what happens is they're fixed in consciousness. So definitely one perspective is that you don't have to try to just force yourself to be detached, because it will come. However, detachment is also said to be supportive of bhakti. Save nivriti dharmena vasudevanu kampaya bhagavad bhakti yogena tirodhate saneriha. The misconception of self-identity can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the personality of Godhead Vasudeva through the process of devotional service to the Lord in the mode of detachment. In other words, if we practice Krishna consciousness, but we continue to hold on to the things of this world, we continue to maintain material attachments, then what will happen is that will hold our devotion back. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the story of the wedding party that climbed on that beautiful boat and then started rowing in the moonlit night, and they were rowing and rowing and rowing into the horizon, and when the sun rose in the morning they were exactly in the same place. It's like, what happened here? And then they realized the anchor was down. And if the anchor's down, you can row and row and row and just keep on going in more and more circles. and not really make much progress at all. And therefore, there is a certain type of detachment that we also have to nurture in our bhakti in order to move forward. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming and giving us everything. But if we're holding on to so many things, there's no room to take. So he's saying, let it go, and then I can give you. So therefore, detachment is also supportive of bhakti. But you have to be careful, because detachment can also be dangerous to bhakti. Yadrichaya madkatado jata shraddhastu yapuman na nirvino nati shakto bhakti yoga siddhada. If somehow or other, by good fortune, one develops faith in hearing and chanting my glories, such a person, being neither very disgusted nor very much attached to material life, should achieve perfection through the path of loving devotion to me. There is a sense in which if one comes to this world and becomes too detached, then that is actually an impediment, because it causes a hard heart. I often tell the story, when I was young, I was fascinated with monks. I was reading one book by a Buddhist monk, and he said, perfection for a monk is if you die and nobody knows and nobody cries. And I read that, I was like, whoa, that's cool. And so I thought this was amazing. For me, this was like, wow, that's like you just disappear off the face of the earth. It's like, wow, social death. So I went to a devotee and I was like, oh, check this out. Look at this. This is perfection for a monk. And then he looked at me, he goes, that's Mayavad. That's impersonalism. And I said, what do you mean? This is amazing. He goes, no. Spiritual life is about relationships. Spiritual life is about love. Spiritual life is about connecting with others on the spiritual platform. And I was like, I don't know, I don't want relationships. He said, no, this is spiritual life. And so there was a sense in which that kind of extreme detachment, disgust with material life, turns us away from actually our highest and deepest devotional aspirations. So I'm raising this today because Kunti Maharani is the embodiment of motherly love. When you think of a mother, you think of someone who's very positive, very nourishing, very kind, very soft, very sensitive, very loving. And then you see within Kunti Maharani's heart, she also has this very devotional detachment as well. And that is an incredible mother. Imagine the mother has all of that love, has all of that softness of heart, and at the same time has this very devotional detachment as well. That is very, very special. And so today, I just wanted us to kind of think a little bit about this, because oftentimes there may be things which are holding us back. We may be doing everything. We may be doing all the angas of bhakti nicely, but we may still be holding on to things. And Kunti Maharani, through her prayers, teaches us that you have to learn to let go. And so, remember, detachment does come automatically. But there is a certain type of detachment that is also useful and encouraged in order to support our bhakti. But in the course of engendering that detachment, be careful, because if it's done in an imbalanced way, then it can actually be counterproductive to what we're actually trying to achieve. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he says, we are not trying to become free from attachments. We're trying to become slaves of love. More important than becoming free from attachments is to become a slave of love. But in order to become a slave of love, there may be some letting go that we need to do in our life which perhaps, if engendered in the appropriate way, could speed up our bhakti in a very beautiful way. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, so these were some thoughts I wanted to share with all of you. Prabhu, would you like to ask your question, or was it? Oh, it got answered? Okay.
So you're highlighting at detachment, but I think it became clear later on. But at that time my reaction was, but Bhagavatam is all about devotion, because when we talk to people about Bhagavatam, we say it gives the gift of pure bhakti. And so I thought it was all about attachment to Krishna instead of detachment, but detachment is supportive.
It's all three. It depends what kind of detachment. It comes naturally as a perfection. It needs to be cultivated, and there's a type of detachment which is not good. And therefore, we need to understand the appropriate level and means and application of detachment. In the Chatushloki of the Bhagavatam, it's mentioned that we should search for Krishna both directly and indirectly. So it's very interesting. What does it mean to search for Krishna indirectly? And one of the explanations given by the commentators is that to search for Krishna indirectly means to give up those things which don't take me to Krishna. Therefore, anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyati iti vishvasho gotritve varanam tatha atmanikshe pakarpanye sadvida sharanagati. Part of sharanagati is pratikulyasya varjanam, that which is prati, that which is against, give it up. Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions or comments? Or yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class, Maharaj. How do we tell if detachment is too much? And also, how do we cultivate detachment?
Are you talking about in a relationship?
In our own bhakti.
Okay, let's talk, for example, a relationship. Like, say, for example, how does a mother know they're attached to their child? I'm the wrong person to answer. You guys are much more qualified. See, okay, so say you're a parent. You have to give affection. You have to give love. You have to be interested. You have to put effort. And at the same time, we're saying don't be attached. So at what point does it become attachment? That's the $64 million question. I think there are certain things that are characteristic of being attached. One of them is that your attachment leads you to do things which are not beneficial. Like, say, for example, Dhritarashtra, he loved Duryodhana. And his attachment for Duryodhana meant that he entertained Duryodhana's desires even when it was self-destructive to Duryodhana. So when we're attached as a parent, then what we end up doing is, out of a sentiment, we end up doing things for children that are not actually good for them in the ultimate sense. So that's one classic way to know that you're becoming attached, when you're not awake to the deeper good that needs to be done in this situation. Another way we understand that we're becoming attached is, what is your vision of that child? Is your vision that they're my child, my son, my daughter? Or is your vision that I'm their caretaker? I'm simply meant to inspire them, empower them, encourage them on their journey. I'm not here to control them. I'm not here to live my life through them. I'm not here to, I'm just simply here to facilitate their journey. The third way you know that you may be becoming attached is when you do the best you can, but you're still attached to the result of it. When we become so displaced because it doesn't work out according to our hope, then we can understand we're detached, or we're attached. But when we know, we go to bed at night and we say, I did everything I could. I put in my best efforts, and now it's between them and Krishna. And you're able to walk away like that, not irresponsibly, but knowing that you can't take it any further than this. Then you can understand, I'm not attached. So like this, as we begin to see more closely, we can see at what point you can't live in this world without being interested and affectionate towards things. In your career, you have to be interested. You have to be somewhat, give your energy, otherwise it's not going anywhere. But at what point does it become attachment? At what point does it become over-endeavor? One must know that balance. And in that way, one can fulfill their duties and do what they're meant to do in this world, and at the same time not become entangled or overwhelmed. I don't know, does that help? Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. In this world, we have various different types of relationships. It can be as a married couple, male and female. It can be father, son, parents with their children. It could be siblings. It could be friendships. You discussed how it's important to recognize what level of detachment is best for you progressing in bhakti. But while we're in these relationships, two individuals can have different levels of detachments between them that could be not conducive towards their relationship, in any relationship. So how do you reconcile such differences?
Yeah, this is a hard one. It's interesting when Krishna talks about detachment in the Gita, then in one verse he talks about detachment from objects. They see gold and as the same, and you know. And then in the next verse Krishna talks about relationships. You see, to let go of this is easy. Boom, let go. But in a relationship, you can let go, but it's like, there's more. Therefore, it's said that that is more implicating. Relationships are more because there's attachment from both sides. So how do we deal with that when someone else is attached and we're detached? In that situation, what one must do is learn the art of using their attachment for you to engender a detachment within them. Like that's what eminent spiritual personalities do. Like say for example, now you kind of walk around the world with one of these sticks and you know, you're a Swami, so people give you a lot of respect. Now what do we do with people's respect? If we take that respect that they give us and we tell them, now you have to surrender to Krishna, now you have to give your heart and your mind and your love to Krishna, then what we take is their affinity towards us, and what we do is we give it back to them in service. And therefore, if someone is attached to you, there's a beautiful way in which you can use that attachment to take them to Krishna. And, you know, like where was I recently in America somewhere? I think it was in New Jersey somewhere, and then like there was a mom and her kids are, you know, not maybe practicing Krishna consciousness or whatever. So every time when it's like her birthday or something like that, or when they're like, yeah, Mom, what do you want for your birthday? And then she's just like, okay, you're going to come with me all day to the temple. And she says it's always like, they're like, oh man, do we have to? And then when they do come, they actually have a good time. So she's like, so that's like an example of how you use someone's kind of attachment towards you in a nice way, in a natural way, to take them towards Krishna. And then the other thing is we realize that that's also a part of our detachment. Part of the upgrading of our own detachment is to engender detachment even when someone is attached to you. That's harder. To be detached from someone who's detached from you is like, okay. But to be detached from someone who's attached to you, that forces you also to see them in a deeper way. And so even those situations can accelerate our devotion if utilized appropriately. Hope that helps. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Actually, I was chatting with His Holiness Hanumat Prasad Maharaj, and he was giving one example. So I just wanted to ask the same questions. He said, don't believe skinny cook and detached administrator. So I was asking Maharaj explains.
Don't trust the skinny cook and a detached administrator.
Could you please explain if you didn't know?
Oh, wow. No comment on that. Maybe he was talking about some sense of, experience or affinity for that thing makes one good in it, I guess. Like if you like eating, and you're probably going to be a good cook, right? But if you're skinny and you're kind of like, yeah, I can just have bread and soup all day, probably not going to be able to cook much, So, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yes.
I was just wondering, Maharaj, when we are doing service, and then what is the attachment that we should have for our service? As you said, we do think that we need to achieve the best part of the project, or, like we're not going to be worried about the result is one part. And the other part is that I can also be very attached to my service. So when we are doing a particular service, what is that exact detachment or attachment thing that we need to have so that we can actually please Krishna and Guru?
There's only three things in our control: intention, attention, and action. Your intention, your best kind of motivation, and then your attention, how much of your cognitive kind of intelligence and concentration you give to that activity, and then your action, your exertion, your endeavor, your effort. You can't do anything more than that. And once you've done that, even Prabhupada, when he came on the Jaladuta, what did he say to Krishna? Make me a success or failure as you wish. I've come here to speak your words. If you so desire, then you make the power of my speaking suitable for their understanding. Now I'm a puppet. I'm in your hands. And if you've brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance. Make me dance. So sometimes because we're so programmed in the world to be driven by results, it's almost like when you tell people, like, be detached from the results, it's like, well, why would you even try then? It's programmed within us. We kind of think, like, how can you be detached from the result and still, like, give 100% and, like... But the point is that is Krishna consciousness. It's just doing the best you can. It's just offering, and it's already a success. It's already a success. Because you couldn't have done anything more than that. So yes, in projects, give everything. And go to bed at night and be satisfied. Krishna, I don't have anything left in the tank. His Grace Brahmananda Prabhu talks about how one day he was with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada woke up very early in the morning, as always. He was translating. Then he gave the Bhagavatam class. Then Prabhupada went out. to meet some contacts. Then he went to visit a temple. He went to the construction site. Then he came back. He met the devotees. Then he gave another class in the evening. Then they went to a life member's home. And late at night, they were both coming back in the car. And Brahmananda Prabhu was sitting in the back, and Prabhupada was sitting in the back, and Prabhupada began kind of dozing off. And it came to the point, Brahmananda Prabhu is also healthy, as they say in India. And it came to the point where Prabhupada just was lying there. So here he was in the back of this car, and Prabhupada was just lying on his lap. And he said, I looked at Prabhupada, and I just saw, he just gave every last bit of energy. He left nothing in the tank. He just gave everything. Morning to evening. He just didn't stop. He just gave and he gave and he gave. And he said, in that moment, I realized he gave everything. And that's perfection. Because we're holding back, isn't it? Like we're holding back some faith, we're holding back time, we're holding back love. So no holding back. That's perfection. So I think if we can go to bed at night and say, Krishna, there's nothing left in the tank, What do you want me to do? I can't do much more than this, Krishna. I'm trying. We used to do that actually. One of our mentors, he told us, when you go into the sleeping bag at night, then what you should do is, before you go to sleep, you should rewind to the beginning of the day when you woke up. And you should go, hour by hour, what did I do today? And just catch yourself and see, did I give it? Did I give everything I could? And anyway, I started doing that, but I'd usually fall asleep by about before I got to the end of the day. But that's very beautiful. So I think that's all we can do. Mother Kalangana at the manor, she was, of course, a great soul. But she said something beautiful at the end of her life. She was passing away. She was at the manor. Devotees went to see her. And then someone said to her, are you not afraid of death? And her answer was very interesting. She said, no. She said, in my life, I never wasted any time. Therefore, I know Prabhupada will come and help me. I thought that was such a beautiful answer. If at the end of your life you can say, like, Krishna, I wasn't that great. I don't have so much knowledge. I didn't really like such a nice person. But I didn't waste any time. I tried. I put my energy and effort. Then maybe Yogakshemam Vahami Aham. Krishna will just make up the rest. So I think that's where we're trying to head. But yeah, it's a long life as well, so you have to pace it. But to go there, yeah, anyway, sorry.
Howdy. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for giving us your association. It's been a reviving experience having you here. It pervades the whole community. Just knowing you're here and hearing you is a new life's experience. A couple days ago, I asked Bhagavat Ashraya Prabhu how you were doing, because I hadn't had a chance to talk to you yet. And he said, I talked to him and I said, why don't you come to Boise and take a day off? And he said, Maharaj nodded to that, like, what a great idea. And then when I talked to you yesterday, I brought it up and you said, yeah, great idea, but... And we noticed that you had 3-4 programs yesterday, and that's what you do wherever you go. So we're noticing the ways in which you're using your youth to help others to pass on Krishna consciousness, follow in the footsteps of Prabhupada and the others, giants you mentioned. And we're deeply grateful to you for setting such an example. And thank you for the very helpful, not just erudite, but also practical class that you gave today with circles and arrows and really steps to take and well-considered thoughts about detachment. We're very, very grateful to you. We thank everyone very much for coming today. We have a action-packed schedule this morning, including we have our youth presentation just now, and that will stop promptly at 9:30, at which time we have our community offering of the Sankirtan results that we're going to be giving to Srila Prabhupada for the Bhadra Purnima. I'm surprised it's even ready because probably there's still pledges coming in, but nonetheless, you got to stop sometime. And that'll be at 9:30. After that, we have a break for prasadam, and then we'll be reconvening for a memorial service starting at 11 o'clock for Her Grace Gandharvika Radha Devi Dasi, who was one of the most beloved members of our community who recently had a very successful departure from this world. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Sri Panchatattva, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Sri Sri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please impel His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj to come back to ISV again and again to give his association to all of us. Please empower us to follow in his footsteps, the selfless mood of serving his spiritual masters. And please also give us the wherewithal to be detached in the right ways as Maharaj has instructed today. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj ki. If you'd like to clap at this time as the devotees did. But more than Chopati. More than Chopati. That's not more.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we have some of Maharaj's books available after class. Unfortunately, we only have, or some of them are close to running out, so it will be a case of first come, first serve. But we have 4 of Maharaj's books available today. The first one is Gita Life, which is a summary of the Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj covers each of the 18 chapters with its own acronym, and with each of the letters of the acronym going through the main themes of the chapter. We also have Tattva. If you don't already follow, Maharaj has a really incredible blog online, also titled Tattva. And this book is a compilation of some of Maharaj's blogs, as well as some of the questions Maharaj has been answering quite regularly, whether it be in classes or in different places. Maharaj answers some of those life's most challenging questions in a really beautiful way in this book as well. We also have Gita Free, which is taking the teachings of the Gita, but there's many life hacks, experiments, meditations, and it's a very practical book. So it's more of a, I guess, life guide rather than a study guide. And last but not least, we have Book Bhagavat. Maharaj covers all of the 12 cantos of Bhagavatam in a summary form in this book. There's loads of diagrams, there's acronyms, there's loads of explanations, and it's really, Maharaj really makes everything so simple. And I know for myself, when I've tried to read the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, I found many of the concepts quite challenging. But Maharaj really helps us understand those in really simple and meaningful ways. So we have these 4 books available. We'll probably try and set up maybe either in a corridor or outside in a few moments. And each of these books are available at different prices. So book Bhagavad is $25. We have Gita free at $12.50. We have Tattva with $14 and Gita Life at $11. So we accept card payments, whether you've got Tap to Pay or Apple Pay. And if possible, we want to try and stick to card payments rather than cash, just because we're traveling around a lot. So we can't carry too much cash. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. We will move on to the youth presentation, so request you to please take a seat. So in line with the wonderful class this morning, which I was, listening all morning, and we have our presentation by the youth, which is actually based on the essence of the Bhagavatam from the 10th canto, one of the earliest chapters. So today Vedanto will be presenting on the witch who became a mother. So Vedanto. Yes. Start.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Vedanta Bhomik, and I'll be Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Vedanta Bhomik, and I'll be presenting on chapter 5 from the book Disapproved but Not Disowned by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, called A Witch Who Became a Mother. Oh, sorry. To understand the story, we must learn about the backstory of Krishna. Kamsa, who is Krishna's uncle, had heard a voice from the sky that told him he would die to the 8th child of his sister Devaki. Kamsa was so furious that he would have killed Devaki at the spot, but Vasudev stopped him and told him that he would bring the 8th child of Devaki to him. When the 8th child of Devaki was born, who is Lord Krishna, Vasudev took him all the way through the seas to Gokul and keep him safe with Nanda Maharaj. Hearing this, Kamsa had ordered Putana to kill all the newborns in Gokul so that he would survive. Putana had finally found Krishna at the palace of Nanda Maharaj, but she couldn't just come in her demon form. Everyone would have seen her. She was 8 miles long. So she took the form of a divine-looking lady. Even though she would have not been allowed to enter, no one had stopped her because of her infinite beauty in the form she took. Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini didn't expect any harm from a person with such beauty, so they let her be with Krishna. Putana had fed her milk to baby Krishna, but what they didn't know was that she had smeared poison from the deadliest snake on her breast, thinking it would kill Krishna. But Krishna had already knew her plan, and he started sucking the life out of her. He used his anger to kill Putana because she wanted to kill so many children in Gokul. But later he made his anger one of the greatest mercy in all of history. Putana was screaming because of the immense pain Krishna was giving her. She couldn't bear it, so she turned into her true demon form. She was 8 miles long, and she only collapsed in the trees that Kamsa had owned. What was weird was that she didn't collapse into any of the village huts, mostly because of Krishna's protection. The gopis had seen Krishna playing on the dead demon's body, and Mother Yashoda picked Krishna and took care of him and took him home. Krishna's touch had purified Putana from all of her sins. And when the Vrajavasis burnt Putana's body, rather than the smoke smelling disgusting and horrid, it smelled like agarwood incense. Many Vrajavasis questioned where the smell was coming from, and they found out that it was from Putana. The touch of Krishna is so strong that whoever smelt the smoke from Putana were purified from all of their sins. Because Putana fed Krishna her milk like a mother, he gave her his mercy. Even though Putana had come to feed Krishna for a different reason, Krishna had also drank her milk for another reason, like killing her in the process and teaching her a lesson. Krishna has to give punishments to the people who do the wrong thing, but he doesn't like to. All the living entities are his amsha, which means parts. The living entities who do the wrong thing are most likely misled from other bad forces, making this a cycle of misdeeds. Krishna doesn't like the horrible things demons do, but he will always teach them a lesson so that they realize what they have done. In conclusion, Krishna is the supreme father to everyone. Everyone is his amsha. His remnants are so powerful that they can purify anyone just by the smell of it, and he is the most merciful person in the entire world. Hare Krishna, and thank you for listening.
Vedanto. You light up the stage there. You have an enthusiasm, utsahan, for presenting that's palpable. It goes out to the audience. And I'm curious, when you put this presentation together, since we noticed that you had some relish in speaking about different parts of it, what were the main points that struck you personally that you just really liked about the story, and what realization did you get when you were putting it together?
For me, I realized that Krishna, I was really surprised on the reward for an imitation offering, because I didn't really think that Krishna would actually give his own mercy to someone who was literally about to kill him. So I actually was really surprised about that.
You and a lot of other devotees.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was just a joy to see you. I think when you presented with enthusiasm and you presented with joy, and I think that's what we hear the most. Even more than your words, even more than your content, which was beautiful, what we hear is your enthusiasm and your joy for talking about this, and it brings enthusiasm and joy to our hearts. So thank you so much.
I was very struck by your presence also, in that you had a calmness in the face of the technical little difficulty that you had at the beginning. You didn't lose your poise, and as soon as things started to move, you immediately engaged us. Well, that's a very good sign.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Amazing presentation, Prabhu. I really loved the poetic flavor to every title. It was antithesis in every slide, what you mentioned, and that caught attention. And I really loved how you presented with Utsaha. Thank you so very much.
Yes. Oh, Ganga Mataji.
I absolutely loved that fact that you made sure that everyone knew Putana didn't fall on any of the villages. He only fell on Kamsa's trees.
Yes. I think we'll stop here in the interest of time. And thank you so much, Vedanto. Vedanto's been in Keshava class for an year now. And it's such a joy to... Such a joy to have him. He's very attentive, very sharp, as you can see his presentation skills. And we look forward to hearing more from you, Vedanto. Thank you for all that you've been doing to prepare this. And with that, we'll like to move on to the next part of the program, which is the offering, the MSF offering.
Now we're going to reorganize the temple room by putting away all the asanas, rolling up all the carpets, putting away all technology. We'll assemble back in an arc around Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasana, leaving an aisle open so Prabhupada can see the deities. And we'll reach that point in 2 minutes and 32 seconds. See you there. Hare Krishna. Where's Malini? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Please assemble. 30 seconds. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone please come in. Come in. And come close. Hare Krishna.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our most humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace. On the auspicious occasion of Bhadra Purnima, we are gathered here to offer the results of 2024 monthly Sankirtan festival titled Bhadra Purnima MSF. From Srimad Bhagavatam 12.13.13. If on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places a Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. One should place Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne because it is the king of all literature. On the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, the sun, which is compared to the king of literatures, is present in the constellation Leo and looks as if raised up on a royal throne. Thus, one may unreservedly worship Srimad Bhagavatam, the supreme divine scripture. Bhadra Purnima is the date on which Srila Prabhupada took sannyas. When asked, "Are you going to America?" Srila Prabhupada replied, "No. Srimad Bhagavatam is going to America. I am going with it." The Bhakti community is a community of spiritual seekers who are interested in learning about the timeless wisdom and practices of Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of love and gratitude. With blessings of His Grace Vaishika Prabhu and Her Grace Nirokula Mataji, the Bhakti community continue to inspire newcomers to pursue Bhakti through various weekly programs. On Mondays in the Bhakti On program, we continued the idiom series. The topics included "It All Comes Out in the Wash" and "How to Help Yourself." Around 30 newcomers attended the program every week. On Thursdays in the Bhakti Circle program, we continued the series Journey of Inquiry, explore the 4 questions with Vaisheshika Das. The program includes reading the 4 questions book in a small circle in a breakout room, discussions followed by Q&A in the main room with His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. Around 15 people attended the program every week. On Fridays, we continued the Success Sadhana program to inspire corporate newcomers who find much needed spiritual nourishment through this program. The topics included "We humans are sponges," "Respect all to be happy," and "How to thrive by embracing reality." Around 30 newcomers attended the program. Next stop, the Mantra Zone. The in-person meetup continued to provide a safe space for newcomers to experience the bliss of mantra music, essential wisdom, and sumptuous prashadam. The topics included mantra meditation overview, the 5 essential truths from Gita, and Srila Prabhupada movie night. Around 60 people in Palo Alto and around 15 people in San Jose attended the meetup program. On Sundays, the Women's Circle program continued to discuss Bhagavad Gita, focused on the perfection of renunciation. Around 10 women attended this program. Comunidad Bhakti, the Bhakti community for Spanish-speaking people, continued to conduct 6 weekly Bhakti classes for the newcomers, including Bhakti Circle, Japa Circle, Bhagavad Gita reading, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Around 40 newcomers attended the weekly program. Bhakti Community Seattle continued to conduct the weekly program to inspire newcomers. The programs included Discover Yourself on Thursdays, Wisdom Wednesdays, and Bhagavad Gita reading on Sundays. Around 10 newcomers attended the weekly program. We are happy to report that a new version of the book distribution reporting app was released that allows users to easily share the reported score across various social media channels. The Gazelle Action Force continued to propel wisdom messages across social media to keep the transcendental vibration going. Around 13,000 weekly viewer engagements were achieved this MSF. Bhakti community's sole purpose is to associate newcomers with Vaishnavas so that newcomers can progress in Bhakti Yoga. Vaishnava Sangha Lava, or VSL, is a metric that measures how many times a newcomer comes in association with a Vaishnava through a devotional service class. For this MSF, Bhakti Community Seattle achieved 246 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. Around 10 newcomers attended the program at Bhakti Community Seattle. Haribol. For this MSF, Comunidad Bhakti's goal was to achieve 420 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. We are happy to report that Comunidad Bhakti surpassed the goal and achieved 1,200 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. Around 40 newcomers attended the Communidad Bhakti programs. For this MSF, Bhakti Community Silicon Valley's goal was to achieve 300 Vaishnava Sangha lovas. We are happy to report that Bhakti Community Silicon Valley surpassed the goal and achieved 1,332 Vaishnava Sangha lovas. Around 50 newcomers attend the Bhakti Community Silicon Valley programs. We are eternally indebted and grateful to all the volunteers, room leaders, speakers, mentors, and book distributors who work tirelessly every day to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's mission and spread Krishna consciousness in the Western world. We also want to thank our donors who help us maintain Bhakti community. We also want to thank all Srila Prabhupada's disciples, as well as senior disciples like His Grace Vijay Prabhu and His Holiness Swami Maharaj, for Keshava Swami Maharaj, for being here on this occasion, and please bless us so that we can continue to serve Bhakti, through Bhakti community, and please Prabhupada. And finally, our most heartfelt, sincere gratitude to His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and Her Grace Nirokula Mataji, because of which Bhakti community exists. It's only due to their presence, leadership, and motivation that Bhakti community exists and is thriving. Bhakti community gets the opportunity to serve newcomers due to the tireless efforts of the book distribution team who introduced Bhakti community to these newcomers. Now Her Grace Malini Mataji will present the book distribution results.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace. With respect to books, Team ISV had a goal to distribute at least 3,500 Srimad Bhagavatam sets from Gaur Purnima until today. Once the goal was set, we again applied the principle, assume it can be done, and marched forward depending on the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here are some of the highlights of various teams who worked towards the goal. Kids Sankirtan team, which includes parents and kids, participated enthusiastically in this marathon. From Gaur Purnima till today, they distributed 352 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Motel Gita dispatched 53 Bhagavatam sets as part of this Bhadra Purnima campaign. These sets were delivered to various hotel owners who were interested in reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Team Motel Gita continues to reach out to various hotels, replenishing books to be kept at the front desk and in the nightstands of all the rooms. A total of 6,600 assorted books were dispatched from Los Angeles. Vrindavan Mellows team, reporting their annual report, being ambassadors of goodwill, conducted 31 kirtan events, which was attended by 955 new people. They distributed 57 Srimad Bhagavatam sets and collected $10,620.25 in Lakshmi. Wisdom of the Sages team, led by His Grace Kaustuba Prabhu and His Grace Raghunath Prabhu, continue their enthusiastic participation in the Bhadra Purnima campaign. His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu announced the campaign on their podcast, and listeners lined up for Srimad Bhagavatam sets. They distributed a total of 52 Bhagavatam sets within USA and UK. They collected total Lakshmi of $9,000. Western Sankirtan team, whose main focus is to meet Western audiences, had another successful year distributing complete sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. Last weekend, the team participated in a 3-day Dreamforce event at San Francisco, where they distributed books to famous personalities like Sadhguru. At the same event, a police officer was very happy to receive a full set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Their traveling Sankirtan team visited Lake Tahoe and several universities in Chico and distributed a large number of books. Additionally, our regular Sunday book table has been very successful. Here are the few spots they covered this MSF. Muir Woods, various Hindu temples, Mountain View downtown, Berkeley Vegan Food Festival, California State University and San Jose State University, Mountain View Art and Wine Festival, Capitola Art and Wine Festival, Santa Clara Art and Wine Festival, Haight Street Fair, DMV, West Valley College, College of San Mateo, Diablo Valley College, Cabrillo College, to name a few. In total, just this MSF, the team distributed 378 Srimad Bhagavatam sets and collected $23,145.90 in Lakshmi. From Gaur Purnima until today, the Western Sankirtan team distributed 558 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, surpassing their goal of 550 sets. Team Bhagavata Seva comprises a huge team of devotees who conduct classes for children, teens, and adults. These classes teach Shastra in detail. This year, they launched preschool classes and in-person classes for 3 to 4-year-olds. The fees collected through these classes are used in distributing Srimad Bhagavatam around the world. These books have reached African American communities, devotees in South America, and some elderly devotees in the movement, and in several villages in India. These are a few classes that were conducted as part of Bhagavat Seva project last year. Preschool for 3 to 4-year-olds, academic classes for kids kindergarten to 4th grades, Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 7 through 12 with commentaries by Acharyas by His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, Bhagavatam Tales for kids by His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, online and in-person shloka classes for kids from 3 to 15-year-olds, Saturday school for 2-year-olds, music classes like Carnatic Classic, and dance classes, which is Kathak. They also conducted a summer camp this year for 2024. Just by conducting these classes, Bhagavat Seva team distributed 675 Srimad Bhagavatam sets and collected $71,945 in Lakshmi, surpassing their goal of $71,000. The corporate Sankirtan team, with their meticulous organization and follow-up, dispatched 2,001 Srimad Bhagavatam sets with the Lakshmi they collected the previous year. During Radhashtami celebrations, Bhadra Purnima, and Sunday feasts, ISV devotees profusely sponsored Srimad Bhagavatam sets. In total, $197,000 and $400 was collected in sponsorships. As we make this offering of the MSF results, all the goals have been successfully met, surpassed, and smashed. With respect to books, in all, more than 650 devotees participated in book distribution. Team ISV raised 3,016 and 21 cents. $316,021.40 in Lakshmi in just 3 weeks. Surpassing last year's Lakshmi of $231,786.94. From Gaur Purnima until Bhadra Purnima, Team ISV distributed 3,780 Bhagavatam sets, smashing the goal of 3,500 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And surpassing the last year total of 3,150 Bhagavatam sets. We thank and congratulate all Sankirtan devotees who have been working tirelessly since Gaur Purnima, our donors, our Sankirtan devotees, and all the Sankirtan donors who contributed for this MSF. We express our deepest gratitude to our beloved His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, Her Grace Nirakula Mataji, His Grace Vijay Prabhu, and all of Prabhupada's disciples who are continuously inspiring Team ISV. We request His Holiness S.B. Keshava Swami Maharaj for your prayers for the success of Team ISV. We pray at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada to shower your blessings on Team ISV so that we can cooperate with each other and continue distributing thousands of Srimad Bhagavatam sets. MSF of Bhadra Purnima ki, Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Srimad Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Lakshmi Narsingha Dev ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande.
We give, before you try to bow out, Malini, we give our deepest gratitude and thanks to Jai Madhava Prabhu Pavani Bhakti for painstakingly heading up the Bhakti community. It's a highly rewarding but also gut-wrenching and heart-rending service. And it's the lifeblood of our movement to invite new people and give them a space. Thank you for thinking of it 24 hours a day and staying in the service. Hare Krishna. A special thanks to Malini Devi Dasi and Sri Krishna Purushottam for staying at the helm of the ship of book distribution, which is somehow the ship's getting bigger. And even as the ocean waves grow larger, somehow or other we're navigating through. I'm so pleased to see how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is empowering you. And thank you for working in such harmony that you inspire hundreds of devotees to go out on book distribution and hundreds of leaders to be intrepid and go all over the world to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. All glories to your service. And finally, to everyone in the community, for remembering it's not what we do that counts, it's how we do it. And that the most important aspect of our service is working together in a mood of cooperation and selfless service. Thank you very much, everyone, for being kind friends, supporting one another, and trying to bring more people into the fold of Krishna consciousness. Just say a prayer. We'll verify it.
So we'll say a prayer to their lordships, to Srila Prabhupada, for the continued enthusiasm, strength, and inspiration of this incredible community. As His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu said, that we all remain united, that we always serve the bigger purpose of Srila Prabhupada's desire to inundate the world with Krishna consciousness. We pray that Team ISV may distribute many, many books, may contact hundreds and thousands of people from all walks of life, and may touch many, many hearts with the beauty of Krishna consciousness and the nectar of the holy name of Krishna.
May we always have the best of association, headed by His Holiness Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj, and the wherewithal to take advantage of it. And we may, in the very near future, beat India. Headed by, may we beat Mayapur next, please. Everyone agrees with these prayers in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande. Sharirat Vijaja Jodendriya Kahe Ka Jibe Pele Vishaya Shagare Dharma Jivayati Loba Moisu Durmati Take Jeta Katita Shanshare Krishna Barodoya Mor Kori Bare Jivajai Shafisha Dannati Loba Shayanamrita Pa Radha Krishna Gunagao Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Ma Prasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Sapa Punya Vatam Rajan Vishwaso Navijait Prasade Sarva Dukhanam Handirasya Upajayate Prasana Chetasu Yashu Vrudipaya Vatistate Tvayopa Bhukta Sraganda Vasalankara Charchitaha Utishta Bojino Dasas Tavamayam Jayemahi Shambhayushi Tamvati. Move the slide, please. Nadesha Niyamastata Nakala Niyamastata Praptamanam Dhrutam Shrishta Bhoktarem Hari Abraved Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasadiki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. We're coming back here at 11 o'clock sharp to start the memorial service. And now prasada will be served in the picnic area. Go out this door, take a sharp right, and you'll run right into it. Please come take prasadam. Gaur Premanande Haribo.